Liverpool may be the champions over in the Premier League, and we may already know the 3 teams going down. But who's in the mix for those Champions League spots? What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video today. It's all about the Premier League, that's right, and we'll get to that in a second. Of course, if you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button. You want to subshop for Blackburn Rovers, Premier League, World Football. We're going to all hear under one Rooski. That's right, Liverpool done and dusted. Relegation spots done and bloody over. That's right. But what about those Champions League spots? And will Manchester United feel that be the next team from the bottom out, the bottom 3? That's what I'm looking forward to. Can it be right? Well, we'll see. Of course, we'll get into all of that in just a second. Big shout out to the members. Big shout out to the Patreons. You know who you are. So what we're going to do now, though, folks, is revisit the results from the last weekend's action and then bring it bang up to date with, of course, the table, and then looking forward to what's coming up. So sit tight, hold on. Let's get into it then, shall we? Recap of the results. Right on the screen right about now. Man City with that 1-0 win. Just that 1-0 win over Wolves. I went with a 3-0 win myself. Villa with that 1-0 win. Just that 1-0 win over Fulham. That's right, 2-0 winners in my eyes. Everton and Ipswich with a 2-2 draw. Leicester did beat Southampton 2-0 to really give them a miserable campaign. Meanwhile, Bournemouth with a 2-1 win over Arsenal. Goodness gracious me. Brentford with a 7-goal thriller over Manchester, 4-3 in the end. Brighton over Albion with a 1-1 draw against Newcastle. West Ham United with a 1-1 draw against Spurs. Chelsea with a 3-1 win over champions Liverpool. And another draw there. Crystal Palace 1 and Nottingham Forest 1. So that's, of course, that. Those were my picks. Those, of course, were the scorelines. This, of course, is the table as you see it. Of course, and if I can, there we go, there I bloody am. This is what it looks like right here, right now, coming into this. Liverpool, of course, top the pops, they cannot be caught. Arsenal in second, and they could actually choke here and give up second spot to Manchester City, but goal difference is massively in favour of Arsenal. Meanwhile, Newcastle also having a cheeky little look at that runners-up spot. Can they squeak in with 3 games? Is it 3 games remaining? Something like that. Of course, Chelsea also in the mix as well. It is quite a race for those top 4, top 5 as well. Nottingham Forest also in it, but they are losing traction, and they may end up nowhere near those Champions League spots. Going down, we already know who's going down, but look at Manchester United, just 1 win away from being 17th. That's what I'm after. That's what I want. Do you want that too? Let me know down below. So let's get a look at the next round of games here. This is the link for the Prediction League. I'm not giving you an update to that just yet because I'm out on the road. I don't have my second monitor or anything. So we'll come back to that next time. I should hope to have an update. Just do your thing. So these are the next round of games, and they're coming at you this coming Saturday, the 10th of May. We start with Fulham up against Everton, and it's coming at you at Craven Cottage. Fulham find themselves in 11th right now, 51 points for the season, just 2 wins in the last 6. Up against Everton under David Moyes, who are 14th with 39 points. Just 1 win in the last 6 for them. They played 40 times. Please forgive me with my blindness. Since 2001, 15 wins. Fulham, 19 wins. Everton's been 6 draws between the two sides. Last time around, of course, between these two sides at this very venue was a 0-0 draw back in January 2024. The reverse fixture at Goodison Park was a 1-1 draw back in October. Fulham on the back of that 1-0 loss to Villa. Everton picking up a 2-2 draw against Ipswich. The odds for this one, though, 6-5 on. Yeah, Fulham, 50-4. Yeah, Everton, 12-5. The draw, that's what I'm doing. 1-1 on the night. Gives Everton a point in the bag, and Fulham another one for the season. Meanwhile, let's go to Portman Road as Ipswich get close to wrapping up their Premier League season, taking on a Brentford side who are doing a-okay. Ipswich, though, 18th right now, 22 points for the season. They cannot go any higher. They're winless in the last 5, though, up against Brentford side who are in 9th spot right now, 52 points for the season, unbeaten in the last 5, including 3 wins on the spin. Now, these two clubs have played 13 times since 2004. 4 wins, Ipswich, 5 wins, Brentford, 4 draws between the two sides. Last time around at Ipswich, it was a 1-1 draw back in September 2018. That was in the Championship. The reverse fixture at Brentford, 4-3 it was back in October. Ipswich on the back of that 2-2 draw against Everton. Brentford picking up that 4-3 win over Manchester United. The odds for this one, though, 9-2 is your Ipswich, 5-3 on is your Brentford. 31-10 is the draw here. 2-0 winners for me. Brentford taking the points. Ipswich's season continues to be miserable. Meanwhile, Southampton up against Manchester City coming at St Mary's. That's right. Of course, Southampton woeful season. 20 for the table, 11 points for the campaign. They are winless in at least the last 11. Up against Manchester City, who are in 3rd right now, 64 points for the season. They've won 5 on the spin and played Southampton 41 times since 1993. 8 wins for Southampton, 24 wins for Man City, 9 draws between the two sides. The last time they played over at Southampton in the league, it was a 4-1 win for Man City back in April 2023. The reverse fixture this season, just a 1-0 win for Man City way back in October 2024. Man City on the back of a 1-0 win over Wolves. Southampton on the back of that 2-0 loss to Leicester. The odds for this one, though, 10-1 is your Southampton, 92 on is your Man City, 6-1 is the draw here. Of course, Southampton's season has been absolutely miserable. They're looking for a new coach. They just want this season over with. 4-0 for me, Man City, putting up a bit of a benchmark, closing that goal difference, and maybe challenging for that second spot. Wolves, they're up against Brighton, coming out of the Molineux. Wolves currently find themselves into 13th right now, 41 points for the season, just one defeat in the last 6. Good form, they're rocking 83% form, up against a Brighton side, coming into just on the back of 2 games without a loss, just one defeat in the last 4 for them. They're all the way up into 10th with 52 points. They played 29 times since 2002, 6 wins Wolves, 10 wins Brighton. There's been 13 draws between the two sides. Last time around at Molineux was a 1-0 win for Wolves. That was in the FA Cup back in February 2024. That was the 5th round. Last time they played in the league, though, at Molineux, it was a 4-1 win for Brighton way back in August 2023. This season, though, 2-2 it was at the Amex back in October. Wolves on the back of that 1-0 loss to Man City. Brighton on the back of that 1-1 draw against Newcastle United. The odds right here, right now, 7-4 is your Wolves, 7-5 is your Brighton, 5-2 is the draw. It does smell like a draw, but I'm backing Wolves here with a 2-1 win at Molineux. Moving forward, it's Bournemouth are up against Villa. That's right, coming at the Vitality. Bournemouth find themselves into 9th. Tell a lie. They are 8th, 53 points, unbeaten the last 5. Coming at you up against Villa, who are 7th, 60 points, just one win in the last 3 for them. They played Bournemouth just 10 times since 2015, 4 wins apiece and 2 draws. Last time around over at the Vitality, it was one of those two draws. It was a 2-2 draw. Back in December 2023. The reverse fixture this season also a draw. It was a 1-1 draw back at Villa Park back in October. Villa on the back of a 1-0 win over Fulham. Bournemouth on the back of a 2-1 win over Arsenal here. This was at Vitality at Bournemouth. 29-20 for the host. 70-10 is your Villa. 5-2 is the draw. I'm backing with another 2-2 draw, point apiece. Villa's Champions League hopes take a dent. Meanwhile, Ding Dong Classic on Sunday, the 11th of May. It's Newcastle up against Chelsea at St James's Park. Newcastle find themselves in 4th right now, 63 points for the season, just one defeat in the last 6. Up against Chelsea, who are in 5th, 63 points for the season, just one defeat in the last 6. Both sides coming into on 75% form, both on 63 points, and have played each other 69 times since 1993. Just 18 wins for Newcastle, 37 wins for Chelsea. There's been 14 draws last time around at St James's Park. In the league, it was a 4-1 win for Newcastle back in November 2023. They played this season at Stamford Bridge. It was a 2-1 win for Chelsea back in October, but they also played in the Carabao Cup at St James's Park. It was a 2-1 win for Newcastle back in October. Newcastle on the back of that draw away to Brighton. Chelsea on the back of that 3-1 win over the champions now, LFC. That's Liverpool to you and me. The odds 11-10 is your Newcastle, 9-4 is your Chelsea, 13-5 is the draw right here, right now. I'm going to back a Geordie victory here, 3-1 win over Chelsea to make a push for that top 4 for serious movement. Meanwhile, Manchester United against West Ham United. Of course, they got their own they got Champions League endeavour on their hands. Europa League taking focus right here, right now. Of course, Manchester United coming into this against West Ham. They find themselves 15th in the table for Manchester United, 39 points, up against West Ham, who are 17th with 37 points. They played 67 times since 1993, 40 wins for Manchester United, 12 wins for West Ham, and 15 draws. 2 wins of the last 6 for United, just West Ham, though, are winless in the last 7. Last time around at Old Trafford, it was a 3-0 win for Man United back in February 2024. The reverse fixture in London was a 2-1 win for West Ham. Over the last 6 between these two sides, the home side has won. Whether it's in Manchester, whether it's in London, the home side has won it. United on the back of that 4-3 loss to Brentford. West Ham on the back of that 1-1 draw at home to Spurs. Odds for this one, though, United even seems for the victory. 11-4 is your West Ham, 5-2 is the draw. Now, if this does go the way for West Ham, Manchester United could be in serious bother to finish it in that next to last relegation spot sort of thing. You know, I'm not going to be in the relegation spot. You know what I mean? Just above it. But they're going to win this one anyway. So, unfortunately, 2-0 winners. Man United take it to the house and maybe relaxing that fear. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest need to win, and they're going to be taking on Leicester City. Bit of a derby. This one at the City Ground. Forest currently find themselves in, 6 right now. 61 points. Just 1 win the last 6. Up against Leicester, 1 win the last 6. They're 19th right now. 21 points for the season. They played each other 30 times since since 1993. 11 wins for Forest, 9 wins Leicester, 10 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at the City Grounds, 2-0 win for Forest back in January 2023. The reverse fixture this season at the King Power was a 3-1 win for Nottingham Forest, who've won 3 of the last 4. Coming into this, though, Forest on the back of that 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Leicester on the back of that 2-0 win over Southampton. So they're coming into this with a bit of a bounce. The odds here, 11-4 though, on for Nottingham Forest. 32 is your Leicester. 4-1 is the draw. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Forest. Back to winning ways. Maybe, just maybe, making another push for those top 4 spots. Into the final couple here, we've got an all-London affair between Tottenham and Crystal Palace. Spurs coming and find themselves into a 16th spot right now. 38 points for the season. Just back-to-back games without a loss. Up against Palace, who've hit the draw skids right now. 3 draws at the last 4 matches, but they are unbeaten in the last 4, and they sit 12th with 46 points. They played Spurs 32 times since 1994. 19 wins Spurs, 7 wins Crystal Palace. There's been 6 draws between the two sides. Last time around, at Tottenham, a 3-1 win way back in March 2024. The reverse fixture at Selhurst Park was a 1-0 win for Crystal Palace back in October. Palace have only won once of the last 6, but it was the last game between these two sides. Spurs coming into this on the back of that draw against West Ham. Palace on the back of a 1-1 draw themselves against Nottingham Forest. The bookies' odds for this one, 31-20 is your Spurs, 31-20 is your Palace, 13-5 is the draw. It does smell like a draw, but that's what the bookies think anyway. Going to go with the 2-0 win for Tottenham. Big win for them. Dented Palace's climb up the table. Then finally, we have a first versus second encounter. I want to talk about Liverpool coming into this Champions. Of course, Arsenal trying to remain in that top 2 spots themselves. They played 76 times since 1993. 29 wins for Liverpool, 23 wins for Arsenal. There's been 24 draws between the two sides. Of course, Liverpool on the back of that loss against Chelsea. Of course, 2 defeats in the last 6 up against the Arsenal side, who are winners in the last 3. Now, I am doing this ahead of the Champions League semi-final, and if they do get to that final, then of course they won't give 2 shits, to be honest with you, about this game. As much focus anyway. Coming into this, the last time they played at Anfield competitively was a 1-1 draw way back in December 2023. The reverse fixture this season was a 2-2 draw over in London. Goodness gracious me. Liverpool on the back of that 3-1 loss to Chelsea. Arsenal on the back of that 2-1 loss to Bournemouth. Goodness gracious me. But the odds right here and now, 11-10 is your Liverpool, 12-5 is your Arsenal, 5-2 is the draw. This one, realistically, doesn't really give 2 shits for Liverpool, but I think they want to go out on a bit of a bang. And I think they'll get a draw, despite, of course, the Trent Alexander-Arnold news is not great for Arsenal fans, of course. But I'm going to go with a draw in the end, point apiece, which does this to the table. Liverpool, well, of course, remain at the top of the table. They cannot be caught. Arsenal remain in second spot, with Manchester City in third. Newcastle will be in fourth, and Forest will be in fifth, with just 3 points separating Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. Going down, we already know who's going down. Manchester United will stay in a decent enough spot, considering where they are. But that is what I've got here, guys and girls. Make sure you do the business and subscribe and smash the like. We'll be back for the next round of games in the Premier League when we return. But until then, I'll see you soon.